Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats, talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. All right, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Yeah. Wow. Beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful. Just it gets better every week.
Every time. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Winter is Blooming, a Game of Thrones rewatch podcast done by us, the Penny Bloom Podcast. 'Tis I, Colton Robertson, and this week I am joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And back for the first time in a few weeks on this project, we got Tavarus Pennington. What's up, beautiful?
Welcome. How we doing?
I am mighty fine, and I'm excited to talk Season 2, Episode 2 of Game of Thrones, titled The Nightlands, written by D&D, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, and directed again by Alan Taylor, who's been on a run towards the end of Season 1 and into the beginning of Season 2.
Yes, he has. Been doing fine as well. The track record is strong.
It is so strong far. Indeed, and I also love that he got a producer credit as well. He's at the beginning of the episodes. He's the opening credits. He got produced by Alan Taylor.
What is the difference between a producer and an executive producer?
So, I think it really just depends on how much work or money you are putting into the project. Okay. Because that's what producers are supposed to be there for, is to fund
like funding.
They are producing it. But executive producers, I want to say, have a lot more creative influence on what actually happens as opposed to a normal producer.
Okay.
That's kind of what I've always viewed it as. However, I don't think that's concrete, like every time that's how it works. I think it's just like,
most of the time.
When it came to like Star Wars stuff recently, Andor was produced by Diego Luna, executive produced by Diego Luna. Obi-Wan Kenobi was executive produced by Ewan McGregor. Like they had great creative influence on the product that came of it. And I always like that whenever the actor who is playing the main character gets a large hand in the pot of what actually happens. But
that was the plan for the new Kit Harington show. I think, from what I was reading, was like he was quite involved in the development of that, which they're no longer moving forward with that, are they?
Yeah, I don't think so. That looks unlikely, which is super sad. Super sad.
Yeah, and it's all corporate bullshit too. Like it deals with the fact that Discovery and Warner Brothers merged or something like that, and one bought the other.
It's a big old fucking.
Right, and so like that's fucking up the DCEU. Well, I won't say it's fucking up the DCEU. It's changing the DCEU. Hopefully,
it's already pretty fucked over there.
It was pretty screwed. And that was like the third iteration. Like we were already like 10 years ago. The DCEU is fucked. Yeah,
right. No, but it's been a slow descension, but I think we might be finally heading in the right direction over there. And Game of Thrones, as much as I was looking forward to Snow, I mean, how much were we gonna do with that?
Yeah, I know. I'm somewhat skeptical because, like, I hear all these talking heads, and they're like, Game of Thrones is gonna be doing things in 30, 40. Like, it is a Star Wars, a Lord of the Rings. It is a Hallmark franchise, which I don't disagree with. But the amount of shows that they were like considering moving forward with just a few years after Game of Thrones ended just seemed unrealistic.
I think they ran into the same problem Marvel ran into with the current phase that they planned out. They were like, all right, we are this big. We just had the biggest movie of all time. Let's just absolutely go ham. And then they started to actually do it. And they were like, you know what? Maybe we'll go for quality over quantity, actually.
Right.
And I think, it's good on them and the intentions, it's all money and they just want to make the most money, but like also to build a universe, it is really nice to have just a lot of content. But
it's the intersectionality of business and art. Like what do you value more? And obviously the company will be like, what are you going to do that's going to make me the most money? And the creatives are like, well, I'd like to make something that people regard as one of the greatest shows of all time, the way Game of Thrones does. It's hard to balance that. And I think Warner Brothers is just the most glaring example of trying to balance quality with business, and it's just it has not worked for them. But it worked early on in Game of Thrones and for several seasons, I would say so. So if you guys are down, what do you say we talk episode 2, season 2? How are we feeling about this one overall? I felt pretty good about it. It wasn't anything mind blowing, but it was solid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seemed like a pretty standard one, but standard in Game of Thrones is a couple levels above.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a cut above.
No, it was after the premiere. It was just a nice ease back into Game of Thrones. It's like it's not like, I don't know, the pace of the show is just so good. Like, I don't know, it's just done to perfection. Like, there's so much happening that it's kind of insane that we're keeping up with the show. Like, it's kind of insane that you can just watch the show and keep up with all these different storylines. But like, you really don't need the excruciating detail of every storyline to understand the show. A lot of things are like big actions that happen that you can just see, which is really nice. But the more you go into the show and understand why things are happening is, I think, why it gets beautiful.
Oh, absolutely. And one thing I've loved about this rewatch is the way we've covered it location by location.
Yeah.
It's just increased. Like, we started with like 2 or 3 locations per episode, and this one and the premiere have like 6 locations. We are going to 6 different storylines right now, and that's insane.
Where are we heading to first in the Game of Thrones world?
We are going to start where this episode starts, in the Riverlands. We're going to start with Arya Stark, who's continuing to pose as a boy while traveling north with the Night's Watch recruits in Yoren. And she goes ahead and pisses in private, can't exactly whip out a dick and piss. So she's like, all right, gotta find a spot where I can take cover. And she's drawn to the caged prisoners containing Jaqen H'ghar and friends.
Yes.
And
the man, not his first appearance, though. Yeah. Can we say Syrio is that man?
Syrio, and also this dude did show up in the season finale of season 1 very briefly. He looked at Arya, and Arya looked at him, and that was it. But
was it actually the same actor?
No,
it was a different actor.
A different guy.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Is that confirmed? Like, Syrio Forel is Jaqen H'ghar?
We're running with it. We're running with it hard.
Okay.
It's nowhere near confirmed, but
I was like,
there's just a lot of stuff that lines up very conveniently.
Like the Syrio fight, the end of it.
No, it makes
whenever
sense.
Arya runs out, you hear a sword clank. You hear like a sword hit the floor, and Syrio was holding a wooden sword. So the sound would have been not metal clinging, and the sound is metal clinging, like metal sword clinging. It's very specific, and like I ran with that. I'm like, yep, that's just their way of confirming that like Syrio got out of there alive, had to change his identity, so
we ran with that hard. He's from Braavos. He was the first sword of Braavos, the House of Black and Whites in Braavos. The first time we see Jaqen H'ghar, he's in a cage in King's Landing. It's like,
she sees what's happening to Arya in real time. The Lannisters are coming for her. Syrio knows Arya's gonna need protection and like to continue teaching her. I think like he actually was having fun teaching Arya, and like having like an apprentice sort of thing. And like now he is in a cage traveling with Arya, every step of the way. I don't know. It is a little interesting.
There's something there. There's something
pattern
there.
of speech completely.
He did what?
He changed his pattern of speech completely.
He did.
What do you mean? Like from Syrio to Jack and Hagar?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, is that whenever they change faces, like whenever Arya goes into Frey, she speaks like Frey, So I think it's all in act. I think.
I dig it. Yeah, it would be cool if Jock and Hagar to have killed the first sword of Bravos, Syrio Forel, taken his face, and become Syrio Forel.
Oh.
I haven't even considered that part of it. He would have to kill the first sword of Bravos to become the first sword of Bravos.
So it's either Syrio or Jack and Hagar. It's either Syrio is Jack and Hagar or Jack and Hagar defeated Syrio.
And became
him. Whoa.
Well,
so either way.
We're running with the theory that Syrio Forel is the faceless man. At some point, he had to have been killed and his face had to have been taken. That's just how that works.
That's true. Yeah. Okay, so, oh my god, whoa. It goes so much deeper than I ever thought.
So much deeper.
It goes so much deeper.
But, nevertheless, he's like, a man thirsts. And, Arya's like, too fucking bad. And one of the other dudes is like, bring us beer, bitch. And he's like, Arya's like, I really, really don't want to do that. You should wash your fucking mouth, homie. She goes ahead and dismisses herself. Jockin's like, all right, kind of fuck with this. I like this. I like this. He can very clearly tell this is a girl. He's one of the not dumb people here.
Yeah.
And a pair of gold cloaks ride on up, and Arya hides as Gendry is, they're all talking to Hot Pie and Lori about, what makes a battle. I saw a couple of people in armor fighting. That's a battle. And Gendry's like, any idiot can buy armor. He's like, how do you know that? I sold armor. Like, and I know what happens here. Okay. I absolutely love that line. That was a contender for one of my favorite lines of the episode. Was just the like, I sold armor. Like, I know what I'm talking about. What the fuck? Like,
be careful though. They're looking for a blacksmith boy that has a bull's helmet. Like, I don't know. Gendry doesn't know that though. Just poor Gendry. No. He's just
bad timing. Bad timing.
He happens to just be thrown into this. He was just born.
Yeah, he doesn't have to be alive.
Just for existing is going to the wall.
Up, wow. And Arya's like, "Yo, they're looking for me." Like, being a little revealing here, they're looking for me. She tries to hide, and then they're like, "We're looking for Gendry Baratheon," and she's like, "Oh," or Gendry. They don't say Baratheon. We're looking for Gendry, and Arya's like, "Oh shit, yeah, that was a." Whoops.
Mm-hmm. She's got to be a little more careful.
Yeah, probably shouldn't have said all that. But Gendry's like, so, they're looking for you, huh? The fuck going on there? What's up with that? But I love the way Yoren scares these dudes off. He's like, everyone's always so worried about their throat and their head. They forget what's down here. I could nick this artery right here. Nobody here knows how to unnick it.
These scenes with Arya are some of the most brutal scenes in the whole show. Like there are a lot of brutal scenes in Game of Thrones. So some of the shit that she witnesses, I'm just like,
she goes through some brutal shit over the course of this show. She is hardened by the
end. Makes me glad that she kills the Night King. A lot of people don't like that.
That's one of the journeys that's going to be the most fun to watch on a rewatch. Is just how she is forged into the weapon that destroys the Night King, which is very, very cool. Destroys the army of the dead.
Through the Night King, the entire army as well. Like, holy fuck. She goes big. She goes hard. Big. Yeah, she goes huge eventually. As
She
big
goes
as anyone. Probably the biggest in the Game of Thrones universe. Has anyone gone bigger? Other than the Night King, maybe?
I was going to say, killing a dragon's pretty fucking crazy.
Wait, the dragon was already dead before... Or wait, was the dragon alive?
He killed the dragon. He threw a spear through the dragon.
No. I mean, was the dragon alive for the Night King when Arya killed the Night King?
Yes,
was that dragon?
Yes.
So Arya
Jon Snow was ready to
too.
face down that dragon.
That's
I don't know
true.
if you remember. Jon Snow like turns around and like yells in the face of a dragon, and
That's
he's like
true.
ready to fight him.
So Arya also kills a dragon. Her killing the Night King kills the dragon, kills the entire army. So every kill that the Night King has had, Arya also has, but she also has the Night King. So she is
we're getting in some deep headcanon.
It's simple math. No, it's simple. It is simple math. She is +1
it is
over
just,
the Night King.
It's the commutative property.
Yeah, the commutative property.
She's +1 over the Night King, and that +1 is the Night King himself. Whoops. Arya is the queen of the Game of Thrones universe.
That makes sense. You know, I was thinking like, who's killed dragons? You know, you got Night King, you got Arya technically. Euron Greyjoy.
Euron Greyjoy killed
Viserion or Rhaegal. Killed Rhaegal with the giant fucking arrow
with the catapult. Was that on the ship? Like
it was on a ship where somehow they completely don't see a giant fleet of ships flying in the air.
I remember that.
In House of the Dragon, we have a dragon death by another dragon, though. So not a... Well, I guess Aemon, you could credit, you know, if it's like the
Aemon didn't
connection.
Want that to happen, though.
That's true. That wasn't an Aemon thing. Yeah, so, yeah. I guess that's it for dragon deaths.
Yeah, top one's Arya.
Damn.
Top one's Arya. You know, I just really do feel like that's debatable.
Yeah,
because it's
dragon
like
death?
I feel like she has to do a little bit more to kill a dragon. Because if there's, you know, and I like the fact that Arya killed the Night King. My issue with that scene is how fucking simple it was. Like, for all the money that you funneled into season 8 of Game of Thrones, the most you can do is her like running up some fucking wooden steps, which I'm saying like that's practically what she was probably doing, jumping off, stabbing dude in the chest, and then it's over. Like 8 seasons to build up to that? Are you serious?
That's the thing, though, is that
like,
that's
let me
all
get some
his power, but that's how vulnerable he is. All it takes is Valyrian steel. That's it. That's
what did we talk about? What did we talk about all the time in freshman year World Lit class or sophomore year World Lit class? Hubris.
Hubris, man.
And that's what the Night King suffered from, was hubris.
He did indeed. But it's just, I just wish they made some minor. I don't know if the Night King. Well, I guess the whole dynamic is different in the books. But if the Night King could at least talk, like that would have just added a whole
the Night King
layer.
Doesn't exist in the books.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's true. That's why
which
he couldn't
automatically makes that inclusion of him in the show interesting. Like, the reason he doesn't talk is because they have literally no idea what the fuck he would say.
What he would say. He's just this menacing character.
I think it's better that he doesn't talk.
Because if we're being honest with ourselves, D&D, they did a really good job for several seasons where they had very firm ground to stand on. Yeah. They had a tough time season 7 and 8 when they had
the book didn't exist.
The books don't exist. And I think it really showed what they were capable of.
It did. It really
whenever
did.
George R. R. Martin didn't give them a roadmap or just storylines to
he told them big plot points, but he didn't tell them how
they had to connect the dots, and that's where they
that's kind of and because it's just like there's just a lack of complexity to some of this stuff. And honestly, it makes sense that it's not actually based on something from the novels, because the novels and every other part of the show that's good is laden with complexity. That's why we watch Game of Thrones, because there's fucking 6 storylines happening and they're all connected somehow. Like, that's the interesting part. Like, trying to figure out what the strategy is before the strategy is deployed.
I like to think, like, what would have happened if they were just, like, wrong about if you kill the Night King, then everybody else dies.
Oh, like, just the Night King died,
Yeah,
and
like,
the army was still there.
King, and then, like, the army of the dead is just fucking there.
The Night King just transfers into the next, like, white, you know, like, the
what happens then?
In line, like...
There's so many ways, like, I really think that we'll get there one day.
Look at that, but this all stemmed from Arya. That's where we were at. That's where we were at the beginning. Arya.
Yeah. Arya does go on a journey. She does go on a journey. We had to
she does. That's one Game of Thrones show I would watch. And like, it can be completely made up, obviously, because that story's not written yet. But whatever Arya does after the Game of Thrones proper, I think that would be interesting.
Yeah, you know, like Jon Snow, like the reason they would have moved forward with a Jon Snow spinoff is because Kit Harington is Jon Snow. Just, you know, we love that
uncanny.
guy. There's like, I think the end of his story is a good end of his story. I don't know how much more we need out of that. Arya, however, that's where we could get really, really interesting. What's west of Westeros, you know, like what happens beyond where the maps end. I like that idea. But regardless, these gold cloaks are looking for Gendry, not Arya. Yoren goes ahead and scares them off. And they promise to return with more men, and Arya's like, why the fuck are you wanted? And he's like, literally, no idea. People who come around and ask questions, they don't typically live for long, so that's not a good sign. And Arya's like, who asked questions? And he's like, the Hand of the King. She's like, that's my dad.
Oh my God. And look what happened. God, man, I'm just, every time I remember like him dying, at least Arya like wasn't looking. At least she saw just like doves flying in the air, you know. Right. Like that's my piece with this.
Shout out to Yoren, man. Like Yoren's another one of those just small characters who's not in a lot of episodes, just been kind of around in the background, and dude's a real one. I almost picked him for my favorite in this episode for this action alone. Like protecting Gendry's identity, not telling them who he was or anything, and going like, I'll nick this artery, you'll die right here. You want to do that? Like, you down? I'll do it. I don't have a problem.
What's up? Yoren's sick.
Yoren's dope. Love me some Yoren. But he's like, well, you thought they were looking for you. What the fuck is that about? Is it just because you're a girl? And he's like, Arya's like, he's like, I'm not a fucking idiot like every other person here. Okay. I understand that you're a woman. And she's like, I'm not. And he's like, whip out your dick and piss then. How's that? Like, I don't have to take a piss. He's like, okay. And ultimately she reveals, yeah, I am a girl. And then she takes it a step further and goes ahead and tells him that she is Arya of House Stark. And he's like, oh shit, you grew up in a castle. You're a lady. I should have been calling you my lady and stuff. And she's like, don't you fucking call me that. And he's like, if it pleases my lady. Goes ahead and shoves him over. Loved that shit. It's cute, you know, little off-putting given where the story goes between them. But nevertheless, you know, it's not in that place here. Not yet.
Nah.
Thankfully.
No, they're just like both. The only thing they have in common, like, really right now is that they're both being looked for and they both have pasts that other people don't know about.
Yeah, shared trauma.
And it's
you know?
So yeah. It makes sense.
Yeah.
But
yeah, he promises nobody will hear it from him. He's a real one. He's a cool guy. Love me some Gendry. So this all worked out well. But that ends the story in the Riverlands, and we take it to King's Landing next, where Tyrion returns to the Tower of the Hand to find that Varys and Shay are having a little visit. And, he makes a little bit of an implied threat about revealing her presence. And Tyrion puts his hand on the door and is like, I don't take threats lightly, guy. You want to fuck with me, you know I got it. He's like, who threatened you? I like the way that he just puts a finger on the door. Varys just puts a finger on the door and is like, good luck. People around me keep fucking dying, and guess who's not dead? Me.
God, Varys is just so badass.
I love it. And I love the way that Shay was just like, I fucking love this. Like, it's like, I just love the way that they were like hanging out. They were actually having a good time. He's like, I look out for my friends. I'm good to my friends. And Tyrion's like, yes, you are good to your friends. Your secrecy is legendary towards your friends. He's like, but am I your friend? I haven't figured that out yet. And Varys is like, let's blitz on out of here to the small council meeting. And at the small council meeting, we find that Alton Lannister has delivered King Robb Stark's peace terms. And Cersei does what she does, rips the piece of paper up. She's really good at ripping paper.
Tyrion says that. Tyrion literally says that.
Immediately I forgot about that line from Tyrion. She ripped it and I was like, damn, she's really good at that.
I was thinking like she did rip it in like a very just clean and like
very smooth,
eloquent. It was like, like the little, just the whole thing shebang. I don't know.
You really got that shit down.
Tyrion says
truly perfected the art.
That's what it was. God, I love Tyrion so much, and that's why I'm struggling. Is like I was thinking of giving like the character just to Jack and Hagar for just his little appearance, and like he starts to speak like Jack and Hagar. It's cool, and the look, the actor that I love of Jack and Hagar. But like, god damn, I love Tyrion so much. Like he's one of like on this rewatch, he's so
Tyrion,
cool.
I feel like Tyrion may likely get some of the most character nods.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah, I'll go ahead and spoil it. He's mine for this episode. I have no doubt about that.
Okay. I'm glad
we haven't gotten to the point of why, but he is for sure my favorite. I have no doubts about it. But Alton delivers the peace terms. Cersei goes ahead and is like, nah, we're good. Tyrion's like, we could send them the bones. We don't really need that. Should be a show of good faith. And she's just completely ignores that and is just like, yeah, we're not going to do anything they want.
Of course not. No, we won't. No.
And I love the way she's like, and did you see my brother while you were up there? And everyone in the room goes, ugh. Like Varys looks away, Peter looks away, Grand Maester Pycelle looks down, Tyrion just kind of sits there uncomfortably, and she says, like, tell him that we haven't forgotten. And everyone's like, oh god, that's ick. But Grand Maester Pycelle smoothly moves on, relays a message from the Night's Watch. We have news of the Lord Commander has sent us a message from the Wall. And Tyrion opens the letter, and it is a warning that they need to send men to the Night's Watch because there is a threat from the north. Winter is coming, and with it, the dead. Everyone's like, oh, those fucking idiots. And Tyrion's like, I don't know, man. I met Lord Commander Mormont. He's not exactly crazy. He's not a liar. This one might be a little bit substantiated. I'm inclined to believe him a little bit. He probably has his reasons. And I didn't really remember this. Just immediately giving us reason for Tyrion's visit to the Night's Watch paying off in a big way, and that he believes them. I didn't really remember that. I remembered everyone being really dismissive, but I didn't remember that they relate it to them this early on. That like, yo, a dead man attacked me in my chambers. He rose from the dead and tried to attack me. And everyone's like, nah, that just didn't happen.
Yeah,
couldn't
just
believe
willing.
you.
They're just willing to be like, this is probably something that'll blow over, right? Like,
Those people there are crazy up there up at the wall. They don't have sex, and they're just there.
And I love that Tyrion's like, hey, you do know that the only thing standing between us and what's beyond the wall is the Night's Watch. Like, and Cersei gives him shit. Oh, you spend one fucking week at the wall, and all of a sudden you believe in Grumpkins and Snarks. And he's like, I mean,
I went there. Like, have you been there?
I was the one who was there. Have you been there? Like, shit. I trust Lord Commander Mormont. He's a pretty good guy.
He did piss off the edge of the wall.
He did.
Something that I don't know if I'd have the strength or balance to do. I'd have to really arch. I'd have to really piss strong in that cold. I don't know if I can piss that strong with that cold of temperature. I don't know how it's going to work.
I'd be concerned about freezage.
I know. Yeah, does it freeze right when it comes out? Because, whoa.
You got to be cold up there, you know?
I might spit off the wall. I don't know if I'd piss off the wall.
Spit off the wall? Yeah, I feel good about that.
I'd harness myself to take a shit off the wall. I'd put myself in a harness, and I'd take a dump and just...
See how long that can fall.
Hopefully right over the gate. Right over the... It maybe just so happens. Maybe just how long it takes. Maybe you could actually... No, I guess the elevator obviously be slower than just the poop falling, but...
Yeah,
I don't know. How long would a poop take to fall off the wall? You know, I want to know that answer.
Wouldn't it be as long as anything else? Is that the thing? Like a feather and a ton of bricks would land at the same time?
No, it actually depends on like aerodynamics. There, a feather would fall way slower than a brick. Because it fall like a piece of paper or something, and a brick just.
But like
a piece of poop
scenario you're thinking of is like what a pound of feathers and a pound of bricks. They would fall.
Yes,
they would fall at the same rate.
Which means a pound of shit and a pound of bricks would fall at the same time as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd say the aerodynamics of poop. I'd say poop could get lifted by wind a little bit, and a brick, like, not really. It's going to get shuffled around
Fair
a
enough.
bit, but it's really just
you got a pound of shit coming out of you.
So, okay, the wall's about 700 feet tall.
Wait,
is how tall. So, I mean, this is not hard. 700 feet tall. We just need the acceleration.
What's the rate of acceleration?
Due to gravity in feet per second, I guess. I know it in meters per second, but in feet per second, it's 32.17. So you just do 700 divided by 32.17, and you get about 21.75 seconds. If it does just fall absolutely straight down with no air resistance at all, which is not true.
It's not possible.
And so, like, if you jump,
probably about 30 seconds.
If you jump off the wall as a human, you'll probably be airborne for about 25 seconds before you hit the ground.
That's terrifying. Like insane.
State building is only like you're up there for like maybe 2 seconds. When you jump off like the Empire State Building,
why do you know that?
Just like it's like physics. You throw a ball off the Empire State Building a lot, and like not you just replace the ball with a human. It's the same math. Whatever. Anyway, taking a shit off the wall would be about 30 seconds. So I guess you got to shit. And you got to know that 30 seconds later, someone's coming out of the gate, and so that you shit on them. That'd be the goal.
Ryder! Someone opens the gate.
Blow the horn. You blow the horn to get. I don't know. Maybe that would No, I guess they would shut the gate if you blow the horn.
Well, it depends on how many horns are blown. Because 3 means White Walkers, 1 means Rider, 2 means something else. Wildlings. Like it's a.
If they blow, for a rider, I bet they open the gate and people go out. Yeah, you blow the horn and then just start at 30 seconds. You got to get that thing out of there, you know? So that's nuts.
Well, nonetheless, Tyrion's the only one who trusts anything coming out of the wall. Next up, we're at the brothel ran by Lord Peter Baelish, where Roz, so season 1, as far as the sex of it is concerned, already I feel has been topped by season 2 as far as the amount of sex scenes.
Oh, definitely.
And almost just from this part of the episode alone, you
it was a little ridiculous.
Yeah, you're just like, okay, well, here's some softcore porn for you. It comes right off the coattails of Theon and that one chick fucking on the boat. So it's like right after that, you cut to the brothel. The brothel, this is what's happening. Someone's looking through a peephole, getting dome, and then Peter's looking through the peephole to watch this dude get dome. And it's just like, what's, oh my goodness, there's so much going on here. And then not only that, but, you hear a dude is very disappointed because he's not getting what he paid for. Roz is extremely upset. He's not exactly down with everything that's happened right now. Neither is she. And she storms off, and he's like, you know what? Here, she'll take care of you. Let me wipe the cum off of her face real quick, and we'll be good to go.
Eesh.
That was a scene.
I just love that he wipes the cum off of her face, and then she immediately starts making out with this dude. So fucking funny. I loved that.
Yeah, it's wow, what a show to have that. Just like that thing in the show.
It's a bit much.
Wow,
that was a bit much. That was some kinky shit.
That was like there's this meme that is very rampant on like comic book Twitter that says like the writer's vaguely veiled fetish, like, and it's always in reference to like there's several pages of comic book art where Spider-Man's webs look nothing like Spider-Man's webs and are hitting people in the face, and it's like like official comic book art, like actual cover art.
What?
This is a real thing, and
eesh.
So like people take moments like that and are like, this is very clearly the creator's vaguely veiled fetish, and this felt very heavy in that regard. This episode was like, oh wow, we're really, really getting sexual with it, but
yeah.
Nonetheless, Roz, she's struggling. Peter has to go talk to her. He asks, did he hurt you? And she's like, no, it's just Megan. And Peter's like, who's that? And Roz is like, she worked for you. Okay. She's the one whose baby got murdered in front of me. The baby who I watched get killed. I can't stop thinking about that.
Fair enough.
I'm a bit post-traumatic stressed.
Was she in the room? Was she like,
yeah, she was
witnessed?
watching it. She saw it happen.
Yeah, that's just the ultimate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Can't get much worse than that.
No, like you will never be the same. But Peter's like, yes, that was poorly handled. The king, while he has a great power, does not have much grace. He does not have much grace. And he's like, you gotta get happy, Roz. I once got this girl from a pleasure house in Lease. You remind me a lot of her, She was wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous, just a perfect creature in every regard. But she wasn't happy. And you know what happens when she stops being happy is she stops making me money. And I hate bad investments. So how did I mitigate this investment? I went ahead and gave her to a lord who had disgusting fantasies. Things that most men would never even think of. And you know what most men think of. And I was like, oh my God. Like this is a harrowing scene. This is scary.
Dude, oh my God. Like
very.
I love Tyrion because he's the happy, he's the fun, and can be serious when he has to be. But oh my god, is like Littlefinger is kind of like why I like Palpatine. The calculatedness. I hate Palpatine for everything he stands for, but like the way he goes about it is like, all right, for an evil dude, I'll give you credit. For being that evil, sure, I'll give you credit in the way you do it.
On your level of evil, you're very good at it.
But on every other level, like, shit.
I can't fuck with it, but you're good at this shit. This is frightening. He's like, yeah, so you could take the night off, but tomorrow you'll return, and you'll be happy. And the like fake smile she forces, and is like, yeah. And he's like, good, okay. That shit is so disturbing. I like that they were like, just in case you forgot how big a piece of shit this guy is.
Yeah, no, and they want you to remember it for as long as you can.
Yeah, especially since this is just like a really, really disturbing foreshadowing.
Right. Yeah. Especially that, and I think the way that Littlefinger views women, like they make it a point later on to kind of make it seem like Littlefinger may have a genuine interest in the well-being of some women as opposed to others, and that's just likely not true for a person who has this capacity.
No, it is not true for a person who has this capacity. And one thing I loved about this scene, not only is Aidan Gillen very, very good in it, so is the actress for Roz. I can never remember her name. What is it? Let me see real quick. It is Esme Bianco. She is incredible as Roz, but the way the scene looked was fucking gorgeous. It was a very, very well shot scene of like the way it was like lit was very, very pleasing. Like the pinkish hue coming from the curtains was really, really awesome. I really, really enjoyed the way this scene looked, but it was a goodie. But nevertheless, the next scene is my favorite of the episode.
Okay.
Tyrion sitting down to dinner with Lord Janos Slynt. And he's questioning him. He's like, hey, what's up, buddy? How you doing? Isn't this food fucking delicious? Yeah, it is. He's like, I might go ahead and hire your cook. Oh, wars have been started for less. So, what's this business about you know, what happened in the city the other day? All the bastards getting killed. And Janos was like, yep, orders are orders. I go ahead and follow them, like nasty business had to be done. And he's like, yeah, I knew you were keeping the peace and stuff. I didn't know you had to kill babies to keep the peace, though. That's kind of out of pocket, don't you think? And Janos is like, hey man, I just orders are orders. I follow the orders. And Tyrion's like, did Cersei have you do that? She has evil appetites, my sister. Did Cersei have you? And he won't reveal who did it. And Tyrion's like, all right, fair enough. How about when, you killed the Northmen and Ned Stark's men? You gave that order, right? He's like, yeah, he tried to buy me. He tried to buy me. It had to be done. And he's like, oh yeah, he just didn't realize you'd already been bought. I love Tyrion in this scene. This is the scene why Tyrion gets my favorite character, and this is the scene that gets my favorite scene. It's fucking incredible. And he's like,
oh man, I can't believe I forgot about this scene and how much I love Tyrion. Like,
dude, it's fantastic.
Oh my god,
the way he's like, and since you did that to the former Hand of the King, I can't exactly trust to have you around while I'm Hand of the King. So, you're going to get on a boat to the East Watch by the Sea, and it's a rather long walk to the wall from there, to Castle Black, but you're going to go ahead and take that walk, and you're going to the north. And he's like, you can't do this to me. I'm a lord. And he's like, well, I won't have to do it to you. Here's this guy. This is Bronn. Say hi to Bronn. And Bronn's like, hi. And Bronn goes ahead and sicks the city watch on him. He's like, who the fuck is this guy? Well, Bronn is the new Lord Commander of the City Watch. Fucking awesome. This dude's
Tyrion
meteoric
making
rise is
moves.
so quick. I love it.
God damn.
Bronn hitched his wagon to the right train, you know? Super, super fucking cool that he just becomes the Lord Commander of the City Watch here. And, goes ahead, dismisses Janos to the wall. And he's like, you can't do this. The king appointed me. And he's like, yeah, I can do whatever the fuck I want. Okay. Bye, buddy. You're a piece of shit. Deuces. And I was trying for episodes to remember how this dude got sent to the wall. Because, like, what I remember of him is he's like a dick rider of Alistair Thorne. Whenever there's like that competition for who's the Lord Commander between Alistair Thorne and Jon Snow, he's like right there by Alistair Thorne's side at all times. And then whenever the Battle of the Wildlings at the end of season 4 comes, he hides in the basement with Gilly. Gilly and her baby.
Oh, God, that was such a satisfying scene.
Oh, so good.
Fuck that
so
guy.
Good. So I just love watching this dude get sent to the wall because he is a piece of shit. Absolutely blows. It was perfect. But, yeah, absolutely love that scene. That was a easy moment that made Tyrion my favorite character of the episode. You know, an easy stance to get behind, being anti-killing babies. It's an easy one to be like.
Easy. That's an easy one. Yeah.
Tyrion he's always on the good side, it feels like.
But somehow in a show like this, it's like, wow, that's a rarity. It's a good thing someone thinks that.
Yeah. No, seriously, it is. And I think Tyrion will also get my best character nod as well, but for a slightly different scene, but similar because I don't know. Actually, I'll wait for you to get there. I think we're going to get there soon.
Okay. Yeah, I think Tyrion's getting the clean sweep for the character, though. I think I don't think it's. I was thinking Jack and Hagar, but oh my god, we haven't even finished Tyrion. And
no, this last scene is even better.
Yeah,
it elevates even higher when Cersei confronts Tyrion about his actions, dismissing Janos to the wall, and he's like, "Come on now, you know you losing the support of the people. They're going to rise up against you. It's a guarantee. Half of them will try to kill you, and half of them will die. So what the fuck?" And she's like, "I straight up don't give a fuck." It was the acting throughout this scene that concluded for me that Lena Headey as Cersei Lannister gets my performance nod. Mostly for what comes immediately next. When Tyrion's like, it was nasty business what happened with Robert's bastards throughout the cities. He killed children, they killed a baby, and Cersei is visibly not okay with that.
Yeah.
Like she is very like, it was the facial acting by Lena Headey here that made me go, oh, she is fucking good at this. Whenever he's like, "Did you order that?" And she's like, she just kind of like cocks an eyebrow and like walks across the room. And it's like, Tyrion concludes like, "Oh shit, Joffrey did that. And you had no idea he was going to do that." And she doesn't confirm or deny. And I just the way that Cersei handled this scene was fucking incredible. The way Tyrion handles this scene is fucking incredible.
That's why
next up, he jokes like her relationship with Jaime, says that she's like, "Yeah, you've always been funny, haven't you? You've been a funny little guy, huh? remember your first fucking joke when you killed our mom?"
Yeah, that was like
good one, Cersei. Yeah,
and it's around this point in the show, I think, where you realize, like, because it's like even a family like the Lannisters, even as much as you understand why they would all despise one another, you're like, on some level, right? They still like care for one another, like they have like some familial bond, right? But continually, and particularly in clarity at this point in the season, I think we're realizing underneath all of this like fake love is just like actual hate. Like they only act as if they are indebted to one another because they share a name, but even that is a very thin layer.
Absolutely, yeah, man. Like the dynamic between Tyrion and Cersei is one that flies under the radar for a lot of people, in my opinion, as far as like I think about when we get to the end of this show and he goes and begs her to side with Dany and protect the North. Like, the army of the dead is coming. Like, you need to be there. Like, he trusts her not to kill him, which is kind of insane. Like, there's just a lot of layers to it, man. And I really, really enjoy their dynamic in this scene. You're familiar with the fact that Tyrion's mother died at birth. You're familiar with the fact that Tywin hates him. You know Cersei hates him. You know Jaime's the only one who's ever really given him a chance.
Yeah.
And this just writes in stone why Cersei hates him.
Yeah.
Like, she had time with her mom. You know, she did live with her mom. She did love her mom. And she died giving birth to her little brother.
But then the lack of compassion that you have to blame that on Tyrion.
Extremely unfair. Excruciatingly unfair.
Starts with, do you remember when you did this? And it's like, no.
No, I don't.
Still, my brain is literally still forming outside of the womb still. And I haven't developed memory or thought yet, really. So, no, I haven't.
And it's like, would they blame him for that if he was like
normal,
completely normal human who could
like just not? Yeah, I don't think so. Well, I'd say yes. They wouldn't bully him as much because that's all they have. That's all they have on Tyrion is that he's an imp. They call him an imp, and they killed their mom. But like Tywin is like, whoa, you're actually smart. Actually, kind of like Tywin even recognizes like the good in Tyrion. I think like Jaime's kind of cool with him, I'd say. And Jaime, like, we have like a Tyrion or a Lannister ranking. And like right now Tyrion's just number one. I don't think that will ever change. But then Jaime I think is like 4 behind Tommen and Marcella. Because like how can you really hate Tommen or Marcella? But like I feel like Jaime's pretty cool with Tyrion. He doesn't really bully him as much. But man, I don't know. This scene between Cersei and Tyrion is just, it gives a shining example of what their characters are for the rest of the show. Like Cersei's like, you have to root out each weed one by one to make sure like that your enemies can't do anything. And she's like, you have to root them out one by one, and that's what she does. She just kills. If you are a weed to her, she rips you out. There, you're gone. In Tyrion, you know, he's with all this being thrown at him, he's like, you're missing the bigger picture here. You know, like and I don't know. I love the dichotomy between the two and just how different of Lannisters they are.
Right, and I'm thinking, well, I guess it's less true when you consider how Tyrion is in the book, because Tyrion's, from what I understand of Tyrion in the book, is like his deformities, his physical deformities do in a way reflect his internal, like, just like evilness. Like he's not as laudable a character as he is in the television show and the books. But it kind of calls back to it's like an old like literary trend, I guess, that started around with Richard III, a Shakespeare play, where this dude was I think Richard III may have actually existed but he like had this like grotesque hunchback. He was just like this evil person inside, and that is played out in his physical appearance. But that's kind of the inverse is true for Tyrion in Game of Thrones, where his I guess deformed appearance results in a more clear perspective of everyone else, as opposed to a more warped perspective of the world. Versus Cersei, who seems completely normal, versus Jaime, who seems completely normal. They have some of the most twisted internal battles, desires of anyone in the Game of Thrones.
Interesting.
Yeah, it takes that typical trope and flips it on its head, and it's very, very compelling. I love the boosters throughout the show.
I think Peter Dinklage is going to have to get my performance nod as well here. Just throughout the whole episode, the man was just consistent throughout. And I think he'll hold it right now if I don't know, does anyone from The Wall or in Danny's storyline really, I don't know if anyone stacks up to Peter Dinklage or
Lena Headey.
Or Lena Headey here. So I think I don't know, that gives Peter Dinklage 2 in a row for me, performance nods.
They were easy top 2. It was just a matter of I knew Peter Dinklage would get love for this scene because of his reaction to the whole remember your first joke when you killed Mother. You know, like whenever he hardens and like turns his head and is like, I can't believe you still blame me for that. Like you can tell that hurts him. It's not like that's not something that he is usually someone who the insults roll off his back. He can just let them hit him and he can let them go. This is not one he can get past. And the performance of it makes that very, very clear. You can just see the pain that he has whenever she says that, and it's impeccably well done. But I wanted to give her credit for the acting she does when she hurls that at him. Like it's just one of my favorite acted scenes in the show so far. It was just so fucking well done.
Yeah.
But both of them were incredible in that scene.
Okay,
but
there might be a rival to the performance, possibly, but I don't know. I think Peter Dinklage is probably my set in stone pick.
There's one sleeper that I'll hear out, but the next location brings us to Dragonstone.
Yes.
Where on Dragonstone, Davos is recruiting a Lysine Salsail, Salador San, and his fleet of 30 ships to King Stannis Baratheon's cause. And Davos, man, this guy's the salesman. We will keep seeing that this man knows how to convince people of shit. He's one of the most fantastic, like one of my favorite characters in the entire show, Sir Davos Seaworth. But this scene does have my favorite line of the episode, in which Salador San says, Mathos Seaworth is like, how dare you? Like, the Lord of Light would never stand for you being a part of the battle against the evil. And he's like, I've been all over the world. Everyone's always got their God, and everyone always thinks they're right. There is only one God, and it's what's between a woman's legs. I fucking loved that line. He's like, I'll go plunder the greatest city in Westeros with you. One thing, I want to fuck the queen. That's all I want. And he's like, we're not going to do this just so you can rape the queen. He's like, I didn't say I would rape the queen. I said I would fuck her. He's like, what he's like, you don't know how persuasive I can be. And then he like kind of comes at him like, come on, buddy, you want to get it on? Like, I love Salador San.
He literally says, you don't know how persuasive I am. I've never tried to fuck you, is what he says.
I've never.
That's nuts. That's awesome. That might be the line right there. That
might be the line. Yeah, no, that might be the line.
You don't know how persuasive I am.
Fuck you.
That's pretty good. Damn, Salador San coming in hard with the lines this episode.
Salador San came in with a fucking bang. I love this character. And is this the first black guy in Game of Thrones?
I can't think of any.
Yeah. I can't think of any.
I'm like, the only actor I think might have been black was Recaro in season 1. But he's not. No. Definitely not. Yeah,
no one's coming to mind.
This is the first black guy in Westeros.
The first black guy in Westeros.
Shout out to Salador San, you were a real one. But yeah, I fucking love this character. He almost got my character nod, but I was like, I can't. I'll give him the line. I can't confidently tell you that I like this guy's character more than I like Tyrion in this episode. absolutely outstanding. But Mathos Seaworth, Davos' son, encourages him to learn to read. I forgot Davos can't read. It's another fun little part of his story, and so that he can study the holy texts of the Lord of Light. Davos is like, nah, I'm good. I don't really do that. And he's like, come on, that's the one true God. And he's like, you want me to have a God? Fine. My God is Stannis. Like, I'll follow Stannis to the end of the world. He gave you a shot that you never would have had. You'll be a knight because of him. Like, none of what we have would be here without Stannis. So I'm comfortable putting my faith in him. And he's like, all right. Okay.
And bro is wild for that, because his confidence in Stannis is just, like, unwavering, and I'm like, bro,
he's just an honorable man, I
Stannis,
guess.
And I could see why someone like Davos would follow Stannis, but Stannis has too much evidence, and I mean, I guess at this point, I don't blame him as much, but, like, here in a season or two, I'm gonna be at the point where, like, bro, like, this dude Stannis does not have it together. Like, no. He's losing his fucking mind. Yeah. Don't you see that?
Yeah, no, and he does. He does eventually see it, you know. He eventually recognizes what he needs to do, but I do appreciate his unwavering loyalty just because, you know, he doesn't want to bite the hand that feeds him, you know. He's like, you know, you've put me in the position where I'm in, and I thank you for that every day. I'm an advisor. Like, he is his top advisor besides Melisandre. You know, like that is the top advisor to someone who is he thinks has the rightful claim, and does at this moment have the rightful claim to the throne, which is like, if he's in the spot he's in, he's like, yo, if I stay loyal to Stannis and we win, I could be hand of the king.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's kind of another thing going through his head.
At least on the council. That's for sure.
Yeah,
like,
at minimum.
If Melisandre doesn't become, you know, I don't know. I don't know what she would. I don't know if she's just God,
like master of religion or something.
Yeah, she's just God at that time. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, Melisandre. As soon as Melisandre came into the fold, I would have been real concerned, and he was very concerned. But like, she's on some shit, man.
She's on some other shit, bro.
And it's just like, I don't completely believe that she was even lying about her motivations for doing what she did, but even still, I'd be suspect.
Oh, for sure. For sure. 'Cause like, shit like this, I don't know, whenever, you know, next up, we're in the battle room, the planning room that we've become so familiar with in later seasons, and even in House of the Dragon, this room is featured in one scene between Daemon and what was her name? Massaria. They're posted up in there at one point after Millie Alcock's Rhaenyra has come to confront him and stuff, and he gave the egg back and everything. But Melisandre's like, all right, so we got to talk one-on-one. Let's get this shit. What's going on, buddy? You trying to fuck? I love the way he's like, I have a wife, I can't do that. Like, no. And then she's like, oh yeah, a wife who's sick and decrepit, and she's terrible to you, and you hate her, and you're disgusted by her. You know, she's never given you a son. She's given you nothing but stillborns. So, I mean, let's fuck. He's like, no, I can't do that. And then she's like, I can give you a son. He goes, a son?
A son?
Let's smash. It's always the funniest, like, the craziest, most out of pocket way to seduce a man in Westeros is to tell him you can give him a son. Like,
those dudes go crazy.
I'm sorry, bro. The thought of a son just made you horny? No.
I mean, I guess literally this act, she's put on the table the conception of the son. She knocks over like all the pieces in Westeros, and like the son legitimately kind of disrupts like a lot of shit. Like this son,
Shadow Son,
whatever the heck that is. Like, and then what actually happened? Like, what does that Shadow Son do?
It kills Renly.
Oh my god, that's right.
Yeah,
Wow.
it goes and kills Renly.
That's actually
And
huge.
Brienne of Tarth is accused of having done it.
Oh
She
my
goes with Captain
god.
Stark and sets a whole bunch of shit in motion.
Is that all the shadow? That's
Yeah,
it?
it
And then it just
that's it.
disappears.
Never
Just
comes
It's
back.
just
single
gone.
mission.
Damn. That's nuts. And Melisandre knew this? Is this like her prophecy? Is this like she's manipulating Stannis into a son, or just like she just knew a son? Does she know that like a baby born from her would be this way? Or did this just happen?
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah, she knew what she knew what ritual she was conducting.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
I
Damn.
think that she's like using some kind of, there's some kind of spiritual or religious, and this is a big thing you can find a lot of people talking on YouTube about in excruciating detail. But like there's a real religious like contention going on underneath, like as a subtext to the entire Game of Thrones story. Like this idea of the Light of the Seven and the Lord of Light and the many-faced God. Like there's something operating beneath the actual text of the story.
No, it's fantastic, and I think that really comes full force whenever the High Septon, what's he go by? The guy who carved 7-pointed stars into foreheads.
That guy.
Isn't he a Lannister?
No.
Well, that guy, there is a Lannister within those
He became the High Septon, right? Like, or did he?
Yeah, he becomes the High Septon.
Yeah.
There comes a point where that guy is the most powerful man in the realm.
Yeah,
Faith Milliant? Faith, is that it? I don't know. That was the first thing that popped up on Google. No, probably not. And practice that the Faith Milliant would adopt.
Faith Militant?
Faith Militant.
Yeah, the High Sparrow. The High Sparrow.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That whole season was wild. Like, wild.
It got deep in the religious stuff, yeah. Like, that, I don't know, that's a part of the show that I never really gave credit to. They do focus on that very heavily.
They focus on it, and it's
politics, religion, war, sex.
Like the
dragons.
The story of the Lord of
Light. The Lord of Light. Like it's
the many-faced God
going on.
The God of Death.
And I'm not convinced that all of these deities are different. I think
they're the same. They're the same motherfucker.
Yeah, right. Like it's got to be
fucking with them.
Yeah, like one of my favorite takes is that like the Lord of Light is the real one because you just see a lot of shit come of the Lord of Light.
Yeah.
But I don't think necessarily that means that just the Lord of Light is right. I think that they're like the Lord of Light is all of the gods. Like it is the many-faced God. It is the fucking old gods. It is the new gods. Like it's just they're just
in a different way.
It just is. But nevertheless, that concludes the story in Dragonstone and brings us to location 4 of 6, where we are on the Iron Islands, where Theon Greyjoy has traveled to the Iron Islands on a merchant ship and has sex with the captain's daughter. Make me your salt wife, take me to shore. He's like, no, you belong on the boat.
She seemed deranged. She was kind of scaring me.
No, yeah, to each their own.
She was into it. She had a good time. It seemed.
Yeah, at least she's into it.
She was into it. She just seemed a little. She just seemed a little too into it. I was like, is she gonna like?
It's better than the opposite, I guess.
Better than the alternative. Which is
and I also like that she's not a prostitute.
Yeah,
like he's like just the captain's daughter. He's like, yep, let's go below deck and let's fuck. Like, yeah, all right, fair enough. And he tells her that he's expecting a warm reception, as there's nobody. There's not a lot of excitement in the Iron Islands ever since he left, and there is no reception whenever he gets to the port, and he's a little bit he arrives and they're like, what's that ship carrying? He's like, oranges and the finest wine in the arbor and the true heir to the Iron Islands. The guy just looks at him and he's like, the one true heir of Balon Greyjoy. The guy keeps looking at him. He's like, me. And he's like, all right, dude, I straight up don't give a fuck. Let's see if we can get you a ride, though. All right.
Let's see if we can get you a ride.
And then a woman pulls up and offers him a ride to Pike, and he rides on the back of her horse, and he feels her up, touches her titties, and slides the hand down, and he's like, this will be a story you tell for generations. And she's like, oh, I assume this will not be a story fit for children. Not for the reason he thinks, but for a reason, for a whole separate reason. And
she plays him so well, man.
Oh, dude, I fucking love it.
This is, I think Theon arriving at fucking, what's it called?
The Iron
Islands. Is maybe gets my scene, because it's among the last times that we see, no, it's not, but it is, I think, like, there aren't many moments in the show in general where we see Theon in his full glory, even if that glory is mistaken. And it's just entertaining. It's just entertaining to see.
Fantastic character, man. And this was the other actor who I would hear out for a favorite performance, is Alfie Allen as Theon Greyjoy. I think he does really, really well in the scenes that he's provided. He's really, really good at playing this just absolute loser. He's just a loser.
Over and over. Man.
Over and over. He's just humiliated. And the stuff like this makes it a little bit more clear what his motivations and going back and taking Winterfell and stuff. Like, it makes sense that he's trying to kiss up to Dad and fulfill the good son role he always wanted to be, but never had anywhere. And he's further disappointed when his father questions his loyalty and his memory of his roots, having spent more time with House Stark than he did at House Greyjoy. And he delivers Robb's letter suggesting an alliance against House Lannister, and for which Robb would make Balon king of the Iron Islands again. And the whole, were you given? Did you pay gold for that, or did you pay the iron price? Did you pay in blood? And I also have never really thought about how blood has a high iron content, and therein it's like, it's like the iron price.
That's sick, actually. Yeah. I've always thought the Iron Islands is kind of cringy. I don't know why. They're kind of they're kind of aware, and like they're kind of chill. Like they kind of don't give a fuck, and I like that about them.
They're wannabe Dothraki.
Yeah, they're kind of cringy in that way. But I don't know. That is actually kind of cool. The iron price. Well, okay. Kind of.
Yeah.
Huh. Oh, man. I don't know.
And I don't know that they're smart enough to make that connection. I think they're just called the Iron Islands.
So it was just the first dude, whoever did it. Like, he made that connection. He's like, yeah, this is good. And then no one got it ever since. And then it's just, they just keep.
That sounds kind of hard.
The iron price. The iron's hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, regardless, he's like, no, I will not just be sold king. I will take it for myself. And this is where I think the fifth king technically comes in. Is Balon tries to become king of the Iron Islands. We have Robb, Stannis, Renly, Joffrey, and Balon.
Yeah. Okay.
Even though there is a reference earlier in the episode where Cersei says they're uniting with the king beyond the wall, and she's like, what's that make, 5 kings now? Very, very on the nose little reference to the War of the Five Kings. I loved it. But nevertheless, I think this is the technical fifth king whenever they look back on it in history books. They're not really like Mance Rayder, the king beyond the wall.
Mance Rayder.
Yeah, because they don't recognize.
No, they don't recognize the validity of that in any capacity,
Right.
or the threat of that in any capacity.
And didn't I might have even said that, like, is the Night King one of them? It's like, no, because no one even believes that White Walkers exist. So yeah, okay.
Well, yeah, so I think Balon would be the technical fifth king whenever we look back on it in like history books. But
okay,
you know, his he's like, I'm here to be your heir. Like, I'm ready to step back into my role. And he's like, you're no fucking heir. You can't lead You can't lead us into battle. You're not Ironborn. And
who
he's
else?
like, who is? And so his guide enters, and he's like, what the fuck? I told you to wait outside. And Yara's like, oh yeah, big fucking deal. Anything with a cock is easy to. Anything with a cock is easy.
That's a bar. Does it beat?
I almost picked that. But
that is a bar.
Easy to fool, I think she says. But Yara greets Balon warmly, and he's like, Yara, like, oh fuck, Jesus, no. Absolutely loved that, and Balon rejects the proposal and compares Theon unfavorably to his sister, and he insists that he will follow the Ironborn tradition of paying the iron price, take it through force, and no one will give him his crown. And Theon warns his father that he will not defeat the Lannisters, and Balon's like, yeah, I don't plan on fighting the Lannisters.
Good man. I'm
going to take Winterfell. That's my plan. They're off fighting a war. We're going to take Winterfell.
War is complicated like that.
War is complicated like that. This was quite the decision. This was really a turning point for the entire war, in a way.
Oh, yeah. Like what I have a tough time with is I know Winterfell is like a stronghold. It's like, oh yeah, that is the seat of the North.
Yeah.
If the Starks don't win their war, you're not king of shit. You just also hold Winterfell now.
You just also have a bunch of other people that you gotta feed.
Yeah. What the fuck, dude?
And taking Winterfell is not even really that hard, especially when everyone's off to war. Like, they don't even have that many people there anyways. It's more just like a peaceful, like, capital kind of castle, more than like the largest army is there, and like you can't ever take over Winterfell. It's not even that like an impressive thing to take. Yeah, it's like, okay, you have Winterfell, but like the army is not at Winterfell. You know, like then
that's why they're going to take it.
Then the army would just come back to Winterfell, and you're in the castle trap. You know, and obviously they know Winterfell better than you, so you're wanting to. The
tactical decision here is flawed.
Yeah, like they have to win the war first, and then they will come back for you. Winning the war. After winning the war, they will come back for you.
It's a flawed piece of logic, but I think it's just supposed to show the Greyjoys, brash confidence. Like
very, very, their hubris, might one say.
Their hubris, if you will. But that does conclude the story in the Iron Islands, and it brings us to location number 5, the Red Waste.
Danny, okay.
Targaryen and her Khalasar lie exhausted, and the imagery here of like the just like blurred out camera moving all the way over to Jorah Mormont, very, very cool. I loved the visuals here. And they all lie exhausted in the heat, and their water dwindling away as they wait for the return of Blood Riders. And R.I.P. my man Ricardo. I like Ricardo, man. He's been blood of my blood. I fucked with this dude. I was worried he was the one whose head got sent back. You know, I started liking Ricardo a couple episodes ago, and I was like, wait a fucking minute.
Don't start to like someone too much.
I was like, wait a fucking minute. I think this guy's gonna die. And he does. Ricardo's horse returns, riderless, and Ser Jorah discovers his head and a severed braid in its saddlebag, and he's like, all right, I'm just going to put that back in the bag. We're not going to worry about that right now. And Daenerys is like, let me see. He's like, you don't want to see this, Khaleesi. And she's like, no, I will. And she looks upon Rikaro's head. He is blood of my blood. And that's when Eerie pulls up and is just devastated. We also learn here that it could have been call this, call that, call them, call they. All sorts of calls around right now. Which makes what Daenerys does later all the fucking cooler, and it makes what Khal Drogo did all the fucking cooler.
Man, it's like sent out, those people that were sent out, they knew, they knew what they were getting into. It's like, I'm either going to find where we want to go or where we do not want to go, Ricaro just sadly went the direction that they do not want to go yet. Eventually she'll get there.
Yeah, blood of my blood.
But don't go that direction yet until you got your strength back and you got your draggies,
Another sleeper pick for performance is Eerie. Whenever she's like, they didn't just kill him, they killed his soul.
Dude.
Like, they didn't burn his body, they severed his braid. Like, he's not gonna run with his ancestors in the Nightlands. Daenerys was like, we're gonna remedy this, I promise. We're gonna burn his head.
We're gonna burn.
We'll
whatever's
make this
left,
good.
we'll burn.
Yeah, whatever's left of the guy, we'll just light on fire.
You smash cut to the Nightlands, and his head's just like chilling. He's like, yo, what the fuck? Where's my body?
Damn.
But yeah, this scene was enough to warrant a title of the episode. The title is Nightlands.
And is it, I was wondering, like, man, why would it be that? Is it the Nightlands, or is it like the Night Lands? Like, the dark is here. Like, sort of, like, is that what they're going for?
I was thinking that Craster's Keep next could also kind of apply here. Like, the dark sort of.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
But other than that, no,
yeah.
I don't really feel that for anything else.
I guess maybe just so you don't forget that it happened, it just so happens to be the title. Like, because it's just such a short scene. Like, that's it. That's all of Dany and the whole movie, or the whole episode.
Well, I was thinking about it as like the Nightland is this unattainable, like virtuous end, right? Like, it's something that just simply doesn't exist in Game of Thrones, at least not after the death of Ned Stark, or is emblematized by the death of Ned Stark, is that this idea of a graceful exit from life is no longer the reality.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
I guess the Night's Watch, the Nightlands, they're out beyond the wall.
I
guess
I don't know. There's something there.
I guess it is the weakest title, I think, so far, though. Which is weird to say, if we're keeping track.
No, I like discussing the titles, though. They're usually much more.
No Hodor.
No Hodors. No Hodors.
0 Hodors. And there was 0 Hodors last episode too, man.
Hodors so far in season 2. Disturbed.
More Hodors. I need more Hodors.
More Hodors.
Did Arya kill anything?
More Hodors.
Did Arya kill anything?
No.
Nope.
Killed her secret identity.
Ooh. True.
No, but she didn't.
Maybe when she took the piss in the river, a fish was right there, and the fish died.
Dead fish.
I can't. Yeah, I don't know.
That's some acidic piss.
Arya needs to kill more people or things. That's the thing.
She will. That's a growth thing.
Less things, but more things for Arya to kill.
Less things, more Hodors. That's my top priority.
Yeah, we need more of those.
But Next up, for the last location, we're heading to Craster's Keep, where Samwell Tarly rescues one of Craster's wives from Ghost, who Ghost is hungry. He wants food, and Gilly has food, and he's like, you know what? I might just hurt you, Gilly. Might just hurt you and take that. And Samwell's like, Ghost, come on, buddy. And Ghost is like, fine. I'll listen to you, Sam. You're a good guy. And she confides in him her desire to flee from the keep because of her fear of what Craster will do if her unborn child is a boy. And Sam's like, come here. I got just the guy for us to talk to. Hey, John. Hey, John.
Let me go to the coldest motherfucker I know. Cut to him.
This guy's
sharpening his fucking sword. Long Claw is right there. Or wait, is it Long Claw?
Yeah, you got it. Right.
Just Long Claw. It focuses right on the pommel too, right on the wolf.
Yeah.
And then it just shows him just sharpening the edge. God, John's just so fucking cool.
Sam takes her to John, and she's like, please take me with you on the ranging. And she won't say what she's afraid of to John, and John's like, no, can't do that. We can't make that happen. We're just going to keep going deeper into wildling country. And after Gilly leaves, Sam and John are like, Sam's like, what the fuck, man? What the fuck? I really like this lady. And John's like, yeah, I get that, but we can't take her. And he's like, I don't have any interest in taking her. She's a fucking person, not a goat. She wants to leave.
I was like, good argument, Samwell, but no dice.
No dice. And John's like, we literally can't. Like, we're just not in a position to be able to do that. And that's the end of that. And then later on in the night, John notices Craster taking a baby into the woods. And he's like, well, I've been curious about what this does, so I'm going to go ahead and take a look-see. So he follows him out there, sees him leave a child in the middle of the ground, crying, wailing. And as Craster leaves, John goes ahead and decides to walk forward. He hears chattering, screams from the child, and John's like, all right, well, now I've really got to act. And I was like, you know what? This shit is why I like Jon Snow. He thinks someone's in danger. All right. I have to do something about that.
Yeah.
I love that shit.
He's there with the sword, with the means. He's nice with it. He knows
he actually
how to handle
could kill
a sword.
a White Walker with the sword he's wielding right now.
This is true.
Yes, he doesn't know that,
but Mans is protected. I don't know. He's man from, I don't know. He's now with the sword sharpening. I'd see even in first watch, I think you start to see John as more of a badass. Right here, he's coming into it now.
I think there's something to the fact that Kit Harington's really just kind of sunk into the role a lot more in season 2. He feels much more he almost feels more confident in the role than he did in season 1. I feel like he's really gotten a handle on it. And you can just he's steadfast in his way. He feels like the natural heir to Ned Stark besides Robb, they're those are the top two. It's these are Ned Stark's kids. Makes sense.
And man, what is this alliance that Craster has? How? No one has ever, how did he, what? I don't know.
I don't think there was a conversation. I think he just put a fucking kid out there one day and was like, you know what? There's some dark shit out there. I gotta sacrifice something.
Is it even, oh no. Maybe it's he didn't want any sons just because he's that sick of a guy that he's I only want my daughters that I can then, go do what he does with. I think it's maybe the first son, he was fuck it, I'm just going to leave it out here for the wolves, whatever. And then maybe he just kept doing that. And the White Walkers they're not going to bite the hand that feeds them. Like, he's literally giving them so
that's like a deeply suspicious
it's
thing to just do.
Yeah, and then like he probably noticed one of them being taken. He's like, "Oh fuck!"
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to do anything against.
He's got to know something more than what he reveals to the Night's Watch, because
maybe there's something more that we learned that I'm just not remembering.
I don't know. The white came right away. Like
no, and it's
Craster walked away. Bam.
And it's just so hard to piece together parts of that, like parts of the story like that, when you have zero, like no dialogue confirming that from the White Walkers.
It's just supposed to be menacing. It's just supposed to be confusing. We're not supposed to know. Maybe, I don't know, unless there is a detail that later we learn about Craster.
I just feel like if that's the way that you go, then you need to have a lot of rich symbolic depth to the characters, the White Walkers, and what they do.
Yeah, like this symbol they leave dead people in, like it doesn't matter. It never comes to any fruition, you know. It just like
means nothing.
It's just scary, you know. It like
when that's shown, like you think that's a big deal, but it just nothing comes of it.
Yeah, you're like, oh, it must mean something. I think it's in like the caves in like Dragonstone. I think like whenever they're getting all the Dragonstone to make the weapons and stuff, I think like Danny and John see it or something like that, and they're like, oh, this is the same symbol, or I don't know, something like that. I think like that's the only thing that comes of that symbol.
And all that says is that they've dealt with this before, which we already knew.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, this is the Night. This is the Night King doing this. Like, this is the White Walkers doing this.
It's like you don't gotta drill it in any harder. Night is coming. Like, the long night is here, whatever.
Actually, I think it leads them into the creation of the Night King, because that's what gets them the link between, like, the sisters, or the Children of the Forest. Like, I think that's what leads into that, actually, is then the creation of the Night King through those hieroglyphs or something like that in the cave, maybe. Or not hieroglyphs, or whatever you want to call them. Maybe that's it. But I don't know. But isn't that it for the episode then? Isn't that where the episode ends?
Yep, John gets knocked the fuck out by Craster, and then that's it.
That's it. Bum, 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 bum. Man, it's just like, whenever the episode ends, and just the start of the theme, like it's, I don't know, it's just, the cliffhangers are always like so good. Yeah.
Sort of like,
whatever that thing is, it's just like a guitar, but like a lot of them at the same time, it seems like. That fucks. That's
legendary shit. But yeah, man, with that, we conclude that episode of Game of Thrones. The Nightlands comes to a conclusion. Do we have all favorites doled out?
I still need my favorite scene, and then Tavarus, you need your, I think, unless you've listed your performance, I don't know, and then a line.
For line, I went with the there was one. What was the one that we were talking about?
Persuasion one.
Was it the one where I've never? Yeah. Okay, cool. Sick. That dude got the sweep on lines. That's awesome. Did. That's awesome. So okay, and then you need a performance, and then I need a scene. And I think my scene will be Tyrion and Cersei. That scene that they have together. When Cersei just comes at him, and Tyrion just kind of, yeah. I'll just call it Cersei bullies Tyrion. So
I'll give my performance to Littlefinger, honestly, just because I feel like what we saw of Littlefinger's character really helps solidify just sort of the way that you should feel when Littlefinger is on screen, which is just like this very icky, like, I don't know, like conniving sense from this guy who is deeply untrustworthy. And so that kind of gets played out very well, I think, in ways that aren't completely reliant on the script.
Aidan Gillen. Okay. Yeah. So it's, wow. We actually had
performance nod, if I remember correctly.
I think you gave him a performance nod.
I did.
Yes, you did in episode 7 of season 1. So okay.
I did tell you not to trust me.
Dude. That dude owns that role.
He does.
So there we go. There's all the favorites now. All that's left to do is give it that rating.
The good old rating, and it's pretty goody. It's not. I'm not floored by it. It's a good episode. It's like Game of Thrones early on. There's never a bad episode. You know what I'm saying? Like this is just good TV, and I thoroughly enjoy it. I don't know if I enjoy it quite as much as I liked the season premiere, though. And,
I don't think so. Yeah,
we gave that a 9 out of 10. I'm sitting
8.5, 8, 7.
I was thinking 8.5.
Maybe
I was
8.
thinking around 8.5.
Like 8.25 at the lowest. 8.5 is where I'm kind of more.
Yeah,
was thinking.
All right, I'm down for that. 8.5 feels fair.
Okay.
It's a good episode of television, but not by any means the greatest shit we've ever seen or anything. And genre-wise, this is another great episode of Thrones. But I think this is the first time in a while we're going to go ahead and dip below a 10 again.
I think it is, yeah. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 episodes in a row at a 10. And
I'm not dipping far
off, but it just didn't quite hit on every cylinder. Like the politics was heavy, like got a lot of just shuffling around. It kind of allows it's allowing for the next episode or the future episodes to build on what this episode did.
Right.
So I think it's like maybe just a 9 or like a 9.25. I just feel like it's just a necessary episode, and that's not a bad thing. It's just like to build this world with how many storylines are going on, you just sometimes need progression in every storyline, just like and everything. And we got 6 different locations, so like
since season 1, episode 9, this is the first really calm, like status quo episode. Like where it's
you don't get
setting a tone.
You don't get a systematic killing of Baratheon bastards. You don't see Ned Stark's head chopped off.
Right. Yeah. Like nothing major happens, but nothing major has to happen every episode.
No, for sure. And that's the beauty of Game of Thrones. It's everything's important, but not everything is major, which I think is a really good distinction. So I'm cool with a straight up 9 out of 10. It was a really strong episode, but
I like that.
We've got far better episodes of Game of Thrones, and that brings us to the critical rating, where I think it did well. But again, I'm not left in a place where I'm like, holy shit, that's one of the greatest episodes of television I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Peter Dinklage really did come into his own here, and Cersei and Tyrion had a very strong part of this episode. And everything else was good. But it was just kind of what I expect. I don't know. This feels just like the average great episode, like average good episode of Thrones is like what this is.
Would you be comfortable throwing an 8.5 at it then? Is that generous? Is that mean? I don't know. That's just kind of where my gut was at.
I'd say that's like the ceiling.
Of
it. If I don't know if I'd really go any lower though. Like an 8 sounds kind of low. An 8 would be like episode 3, Lord Snow, and episode 1 of that. Wow, okay. The premiere. I don't know. Kind of is on the same level as like the premiere. It's like they found their style now, but they just didn't quite. Like the premiere was they haven't quite found their style, but the story and like everything was just, and the world building was so cool that it got like an 8. And here, I think they found their style, but it's just kind of like an episode where they had to accomplish a lot.
I get
so. I think it's about the same. So I'm thinking I'm in between like an 8 or an 8.5, anywhere in there.
Well, then maybe 8.25 is just the natural choice there. If you're splitting there, how you feeling, Tav?
Yeah, I think 8.25 is right about where I am.
Let's see where that places it at an 8.58 and 86%, which from last season is pretty good. It's
That's
like
the third weakest episode,
third weakest
episode of the show.
So the last man, whenever they hit their stride, from episode 5 on, it was just strong. But I guess like the beginning of the season, they're introducing so many more characters. They have to do the same thing. You know, it's building up to the latter half of the season being strong again. And I think that like you always remember the ends of the Game of Thrones seasons, you know. The beginnings is always like, oh my god, that's happening now? Holy shit. And then like by the time you get to the end, you're like, oh my god, we're getting here finally. Like, let's go. So I think it's kind of just doing the same thing as season 1. But yeah, 8.5 like that's the thing. And 86%. That's pretty damn good. IMDb gives it 8.4. And then Rotten Tomatoes had 0.
Literally does not have a rating on this episode.
It's unrateable. Only 30,000 people have rated it on IMDb, I guess. So I don't know what's going on over there on Rotten Tomatoes, but I think we're pretty spot on.
Tomatoes is also fucked up. It thinks season 2, episode 2 is season 1, episode 2.
Yeah, I know. I also saw that too. And in IMDb's ratings, almost 2,000 people gave it a 1, and that's like 6% of the votes. So that's just people trying to just throw hate.
Review bomb.
There we go.
All right, so an 86%. It's a pretty good episode. Second lowest on our rating scale, and 86 is the second lowest. You're doing pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
So I think that'll conclude this episode of Winter is Blooming, a Game of Thrones rewatch podcast. If you would, head to patreon.com/PennyBloomPod, where you'll find over 50 hours of exclusive content. And for $3 a month, you can support this podcast financially. It's huge, costs me money, and I don't make any off of it unless it's over there. So that'd be a huge help, and I'd appreciate it greatly. If you would, head to Twitter, follow at PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast. Remember to leave a 5-star rate and review wherever you are listening. It's also a huge help. We got the comic book journey through film going on right now. We're covering The Bad Batch on Wednesdays on Rebellion's Bloom. This Friday will bring us to Superman 2, which I'm very excited about. Last Friday was Superman 1978, so we got a couple of Superman movies in a row. Very excited for you guys to hear that. I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. I was also joined by Tavarus Pennington. Thank you very much, homie.
No problem. Always a pleasure.
Oh, and it was a pleasure to have you. Remember, peace, love, and bloom. And the only God is what's between a woman's legs.